out to that Britney Spears bombshell. She was breaking her silence in the conservatorship case and saying in a Los Angeles court that she wants her life back. ABC's Kaylee Hartong was outside that courtroom with the very latest on this story. Good morning, Kaylee.
Hey, good morning, Cecilia. This was the most shocking performance of Britney Spears' life. We listened to that virtual hearing right here at the courthouse.
Goddamn performance.
We couldn't see Britney. She only needed to call in to make this plea to a judge to end her conservatorship, and the judge forbid any recordings of the proceedings for us to share with you. But we heard a confident and a determined Britney Spears who wants the world to hear her story.
Britney Spears standing up for herself in an explosive court hearing Wednesday, passionately telling a court she's been exploited, embarrassed, and demoralized by the people behind the conservatorship that's controlled her life and finances for the last 13 years, asking that it be terminated. The 39-year-old pleading with a judge, saying, "I just want my life back." Spears addressing the court for more than 20 minutes, calling the court-ordered conservatorship, which is controlled in part by her father, Jamie Spears, abusive. The megastar saying she was accused of not participating in rehearsals for her Vegas show after disagreeing about a dance move, and accused of not taking medicine that she maintained she'd been regularly taking for years. She says that 3 days after she said she no longer wanted to do the Vegas residency, she was taken off her normal medication and put on lithium, a powerful psychiatric drug, against her will, and later sent away to a rehab program. She says when she called her dad about the decision, quote, "I cried on the phone for an hour, and he loved every minute of it. The control he had over someone as powerful as me, he loved the control."
Would you tolerate your children be watching a gaming charismatic figure they like to propagate and spread reactionary ideology to them under the guise of his likable personality and gaming content? No, because there is a difference between the ideology and the worldview that I talk about and reactionary ideology. Unless you unironically believe that, like, there is no difference between Nazi ideology and things that I talk about. For example, like, oh, this is just a troll. Why am I responding to it? Yeah. Here's another reason why I ban people like this, because they derail the broadcast specifically so that they can, you know, so they can have like a really selfish moment. So I'm just going to ban them and move on. This is why I ban people, though. Not because I can't address their fucking point of view, but because they're just annoying and very selfish, really.
To hurt his own daughter. Spears comparing her experiences to sex trafficking, making anyone work against their will, taking all their possessions away, credit card, cash, phone, passport, and placing them in a home where they work with the people who live with them. She says she's not allowed to ride in a car driven by her boyfriend or make her own decisions about birth control, marriage, or having more children. Since Spears stopped performing 2.5 years ago, Instagram has been the only way fans have gotten glimpses of her life.
And it was really weird. You guys remember? I covered this back when, like, she posted some stuff, and it was so scary, dude.
Let you guys know that I am fine. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life.
But Spears says those posts online weren't her true feelings. "I've lied and told the whole world I'm okay and I'm happy. I've been in denial. I've been in shock. I am traumatized. But now I'm telling you the truth, okay? I'm not happy. I can't sleep. I'm so angry, it's insane." Jamie Spears' attorneys have said that the pop star could have asked for the conservatorship to be dropped for years, but she says she didn't know that was an option. In addition to ending the conservatorship, Spears told the court she wants to be able to choose her own attorney and have sessions with a therapist in the privacy of her own home, instead of at an office where paparazzi have photographed her. She could be heard pounding her fists as she told the judge all she hears from her team is no, 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 saying she feels ganged up on, bullied, left out and alone. "I am tired of feeling alone. I deserve to have the same rights as anyone." But her most loyal fans, including members of the Free Britney movement who gathered outside the court, want her to know she's not alone.
It's important just to show our support, our endless support.
I'm in shock, I'm in awe, I'm incredibly proud of Britney. Just the bravery that it took was palpable.
The judge thanked Britney for her statement, saying she knows it took a lot of courage for her to come forward. And after we heard Britney describe the depths of her father's control over her, we only heard from her father through his attorney, who said he is sorry to see his daughter suffering and in so much pain. Mr. Spears loves his daughter and misses her very much. TJ.
All right, Kaylee, thank you so much. I want to bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, here in studio with us, and New York Times senior editor and co-creator of the documentary Framing Britney Spears, Liz Day. Thank you both for being here. Dan, wow. I mean, we hearing this yesterday, hearing from her for the first time. There's this whole Free Britney movement out there. Hearing her, she sounds like a literal prisoner.
This was even more of a bombshell than we expected, right? We came into this wondering how big a deal is it going to be. This was a huge deal, what she said here. And the two things that struck me most were, first of all, the fact that she says she didn't know she could file to end this. That's astonishing, because as the lawyer involved here, I always have said, well, you know, she could always file to end this. And yet now, if this is true, that she didn't know, that's a really big deal. Number two, on the flip side to some degree, is she repeated again and again that she wanted to end this, but without a medical examination. And, you know, if you want to end this, the way to do it in a faster way is to say, I'll do anything it takes to end this. Let's get the exam done. Let's get this finished. But you can tell she's so frustrated at this point with what she says has happened to her that she's taking that position that wants it to be without any sort of medical exam.
Liz, we can't say wow enough. And we thought we knew so much about this story, partly because of the movie that you helped create. Were you surprised by what you heard in that courtroom?
Okay, before we move on to additional details, obviously some of you don't know what a conservatorship is, so I will mention that. It's a court-ordered it's basically a court order for individuals who cannot take care of themselves and are unable to make their own decisions in instances like when they have dementia or some sort of like other debilitating mental illness or mental disorder. Is that the right word? I don't know. And oftentimes conservatorships are for older people. I think there was there was a movie I watched, I Care a Lot, I think. Was it? Is it called I Care a Lot? That like literally revolved around the actual truth about how fucking horrifying conservatorship cases can be. It was like a dark comedy. It wasn't that great, but you know, it's a decent, relatively satirical approach to how that shit works. And basically, there were two parts to Britney Spears' conservatorship. One was for her estate and financial affairs, and the other was for her as a person. Under the legal agreement, Spears had not controlled her finances since 2008. Jamie Spears is the father of Britney Spears, who was initially in charge of both parts of the conservatorship, but stepped down as his daughter's personal conservator in 2019 because of health reasons. Jody Montgomery, a care professional, replaced him on a temporary basis, but Britney Spears has requested this to be made permanent. There were confidential court records that the New York Times obtained that showed that the pop star had voiced serious opposition to the conservatorship earlier. And they briefly touched on that, like her statements expressing concern, wanting to get out of it, and trying to get out of it numerous times, and not necessarily knowing how she could potentially get out of it. They showed that conservatorship restricted aspects of her life, ranging from who she dated to the color of her kitchen cabinets, to even forcibly putting her on an IUD birth control. She feels that the conservatorship has become an oppressive and controlling tool against her, a court investigator wrote in a 2016 report. The conservatorship had too much control, Spears said, according to the account of the conversation, too much. In November 2020, a judge declined to remove Mr. Spears, but named financial firm the Bessemer Trust as a co-conservator of her estate instead. So, like, the government is literally stepping in to just be like, you know, the dad can still be a part of this, but, you know, we're going to bring in other outside sources onto it. And a month later, the judge extended Mr. Spears' conservatorship until September 2021. Now, you might be wondering why the conservatorship was originally established. That was because Britney Spears was beginning to behave erratically in 2007 after her divorce from Kevin Federline was finalized and she lost custody of her own two children. There was a series of public incidents, if you recall, if you're old enough to remember. That's I believe where the Leave Britney Alone stuff comes from, where like she was like, you know, there were people that were raising concerns about her mental welfare. She was making headlines for shaving her head, hitting a photographer's car with an umbrella. In 2008, she was twice admitted to a hospital under temporary psychiatric assessment ruling, including after an incident in which she allegedly refused to surrender her sons in a standoff involving the police. And since then, you know, as I mentioned already, the father had taken over every aspect of her life and basically controlled every aspect of her life, including sending her out to work. You know what I mean? All right. Imagine losing your entire life and children and then being called crazy when you're reacting to your world coming apart. I mean, she definitely was experiencing like episodes, like some kind of episode. I'm not a medical expert, but you know, that wasn't like too far-fetched to state. But does it deserve such a restrictive and overreaching conservatorship like this for as long as it did? No, I don't think so.
Absolutely. I'm still shocked. She had so many jaw-dropping lines. You know, I just want my life back. This conservatorship is abusive. I deserve to have the same rights as anybody does. I'm still floored with how defiant she was and how passionate she was. And for me, I was also most surprised by what Dan said, that Britney said she did not know this entire time, this entire 13 years, she did not know she could file to end the conservatorship. That's unbelievable.
And Dan, as Liz mentioned, those jaw-dropping lines, what about the tone in how she approached all of this? The fact, obviously, she was very passionate, but there was also profanity in this presentation. What impact will that have on the case?
Well, look, I think the profanity just makes it more human, right? I mean, I don't think the judge is going to say, oh, you know, she used curse words, and therefore, I think she's going to come out of this saying, that was real. That was her. That wasn't written by somebody else. That's what she really thinks here. And, you know, judges are human, right? Which is, yes, there's going to be investigators, and there's going to be doctors, and there's going to be reports. But I think that this account from her is really going to matter to the judge, because this is Brittney Spears speaking to the judge. And we'll soon find out what exact impact it's going to have. She still has to file to end the conservatorship. So that's legal step number one here.
Liz, we talk about this Free Britney movement, and so much of it, and look, I'll admit, I used to watch and say, okay, they're fans of hers, they're rooting for her, they want her to be okay. But, you know, I'm hearing folks now talk about, you know what, this is going to bring some attention to the whole conservatorship laws. And so this could be more than just about Britney now.
Absolutely. And I think the fans are feeling really vindicated. You know, for 13 years, everyone has said to them, you know, we haven't heard it directly from Britney herself, you know, dismissing their passions as sort of a conspiracy theory. And now Britney has gone on the record in court and basically backed up a lot of what.
Like, can you imagine having an episode being subjected to a conservatorship where you have no control over your life or your financial assets that you have literally generated, and then having those financial assets straight up fund the continuation of your slavery, like of your legal fucking slavery, in perpetuity, pretty much. You're basically in a prison that you are funding and continuing. Like, there's reports that her lawyer was overbilling her, you know what I mean? Like, and not necessarily doing a good job defending her, or you know, extending the conservatorship pretty much. Never told her that she could get out of it. I'm being serious and no disrespect, but why are you talking about this? Like, who cares in the least disrespectful way, says Stalin's Milk. I mean, this is a pretty huge problem, dude. Like, you don't consider this to be a grave injustice? Like, I don't understand. Just because it's Britney Spears, you don't think that, like, someone who is famous can't face like this grave injustice. I mean, think about it this way: if this can happen to Britney Spears, who is like visibly in the public spotlight, and this kind of exploitation can occur for someone like Britney Spears, then think about what happens to your fucking grandparents and shit. You know what I mean? So many people left behind. Think about how this could happen to an otherwise like someone who's in an otherwise like a very unfortunate situation.
What they've been saying all along.
Wow. It is just really, really something. We can't stop talking about it. Liz, Dan, thank you both so much. There's definitely more to come on this.
Well, hey there, Jim.
You know, this happens a lot with elderly people, lawyers, literally rob old people using conservatorship like this. Yeah, they do. It's kind of weird, like, that you take this approach where it's like, yeah, it's legalized slavery, but it's okay because it's a fucking pop star, you know? So it's whatever, you know, who cares?
The 39-year-old pop star told a California judge yesterday she was forced to take the drug lithium, forced to perform, and forced to take...
Wait, I want to see, like, a longer analysis on this. Like...
Okay, now to Britney Spears, who is pleading with a judge today to end her court-ordered conservatorship, which she calls, and I quote here, abusive, telling the judge, again, I quote, "I just want my life back." More on this story now from CNN's Stephanie Elam.
Britney Spears is angry. She wants her life back, and she wants the world to know it. Speaking remotely to a Los Angeles County courtroom, the pop singer saying her wish and dream is for the conservatorship to end, a legal arrangement she's been living with for nearly 13 years. In the status hearing, Spears expressing frustration over the lack of control of her own life, saying, quote, "I'm traumatized. I'm not happy. I can't sleep. I'm so angry, it's insane." Even adding she wants to marry and have another child, both major life moments she says the current conservatorship doesn't allow. Her father's only response to the artist's stinging criticisms was that he loves and misses her. The trouble for Britney Spears began in 2007. Her girl-next-door image unraveling in front of the paparazzi who were always chasing her, capturing her every move, especially the uncomfortable moments in the singer's personal life. The following year, multiple health and psychiatric issues landed Spears in the hospital in January. Her father, Jamie Spears, filed a petition with the Los Angeles County Superior Court that February to place her under a temporary probate conservatorship. Jamie Spears and attorney Andrew Wallet becoming permanent co-conservators of Britney's estimated $60 million estate in October 2008. Her father getting control of her medical care, something Spears spoke emotionally about, saying, quote, "I want to be able to get married and have a baby. I was told I can't get married. I have an IUD inside me, but this so-called team won't let me go to the doctor to remove it because they don't want me to have any more children. This conservatorship is doing me way more harm than good."
Usually, most conservatorships in probate court are for the elderly, people that have exhibited memory deficits or judgment deficits that are pervasive and most likely going to endure for the rest of their lives.
But through all this, Britney Spears kept working while under this conservatorship, releasing several albums, 2 that went platinum.
What's up, Vegas?
Holding down her Pieces of Me Las Vegas residency, reportedly earning her $30 million, and serving as a judge on The X Factor.
Well, she did lose custody of both her children. I don't think she would have been allowed to have more. No, yes, you're right. When you lose custody of your children, you should be sterilized forcibly. That's a very good and very humane take from the chatter. Yeah, there's no way to, like, I don't know, get better or treat someone who has like mental health problems and then, you know, give them freedom. Once you have mental health issues or complications and, like, you may lose your custody over your children as a consequence of that, then you know, it's time to sterilize you. Sorry. That's a fun fact. That's actually what Nazis believed. So, and also American fascists. So you're not super far off from, you know, that mentality. Very cool.
Attorney Andrew Wallet resigned in the spring of 2019, leaving Spears' father in control of just about every aspect of Britney's life. But last summer, Britney pushed back. In legal documents, her court-appointed lawyer stating Britney is, quote, strongly opposed to having her father as conservator and requested that Jamie be removed. Instead, a judge in November added Bessemer Trust, a private wealth and investment management firm, as a co-conservator to oversee her estate. Now Spears wants to pick her own lawyer, and as she said in court, quote, I just want my life back. Stephanie Elam, CNN, Los Angeles.
So joining me now to discuss, Samantha Stark is here. Samantha is the director of the documentary Framing Britney Spears. I love the doc, by the way, Samantha. It was really, really great. So thank you for that. And CNN legal analyst Joey Jackson, a criminal defense attorney.
Britney Spears, a multimillionaire. Why the fuck do we care about this? Why do you care about legalized slavery because someone is a multimillionaire who literally does not even have access to the funds that she's generating, whose funds are like actually facilitating her own legalized slavery? That's very cool. Some of you guys are fucking morons. You are a baboon. You have a baboon brain. You see rich and you immediately see red. And you think to yourself, human rights abuses like literal slavery are acceptable if they're generating a lot of money. Even if that money that they're generating isn't directly, funding their lifestyle, but instead straight up directly funding their slavery, further slavery, and also being caged. It's like looking at the prison industrial complex and saying, why do we care about prisoners? I mean, ultimately their labor is funding a massive multi-billion-dollar industry. They should keep being enslaved. It's captivity and slavery.
Hey, Joey, always a pleasure to have you on. Good to see you as well. Joey, so Britney Spears wants to end her conservatorship. She has been under it for nearly 13 years. She doesn't want to have a clear, she doesn't want to have a clear health evaluation. She's 39 years old. She's incredibly successful. Will it happen? What's going to happen?
So it could, Don. Good evening to you. So what happens is we obviously know that she's had her share of issues, right? She had some mental health problems. A lot of people do. That is a thing. And so unfortunately with that and some alleged drug use or what have you, about 13 years ago, her father thought it was appropriate to act as her guardian. A lot of things at stake, a lot of assets at stake, a lot of decisions to be made, and a lot of predators, quite frankly, as it relates to all of her monies and all of her income. And so there was this conservatorship, and I think at that time, perhaps for very good reason, and that's continued over the course of the years to guide her, to look over her, to ensure that things are as they should be. But now as she apparently gets better, she's in court, indicating that she's competent, she's able, she's responsible, and that she wants back in. And so, look, we live in a society where all of us should be able to tend to our affairs if we're competent and able to do so, and the argument she's making is that she is. And so
Mods, you can ban people who keep saying, is this worth our attention? Like, yeah, it is. I declare it worthy of attention. I sit around and literally watch, like, architectural digest videos and shit. Suck my fucking cock, you pathetic fucking stupid loser. I'm gonna run my show the way I want to run it. If you don't like it, you can get the fuck out, okay? You can see yourself out of this fucking community, out of this chat, or you can shut the fuck up because I just took away your free speech rights in the chat, okay? And shut the fuck up and watch. Some of you don't deserve a say in this process. Some of you don't deserve a say in this community until you know how to fucking behave. Sorry, it is what it is. You behave like an animal, I'm going to treat you like a fucking animal.
So to your question, in the event that she can demonstrate to a court's satisfaction after psychiatric and other evaluations happen that she should be in place and that everyone else should be removed, I think that's exactly what should happen. We're a ways from that, but I think certainly that's what the movement is that she would like to see moving forward.
So Samantha, Britney Spears didn't hold back today. She talked about not being able to get married or have a baby. She said that her so-called team won't let her get off birth control. I mean, you really opened a lot of people's eyes to what she is going through in your documentary. Are you surprised by what we learned today?
I'm absolutely not surprised because we knew most of it from our investigation that we published yesterday about how Britney has been wanting to get out of this for so long. I also have to disagree with my fellow panelist's position that, you know, I think a lot of people assume, just say, oh, she needed it, like this, you know, it really helped her, it saved her life. But now is a different story. This woman was guest starring on national TV, releasing an album and doing an international tour of 100 shows within 1 year of being put in this conservatorship. And that's part of what she was expressing. She said, I know that I can provide for myself. I'm bringing in all the money, and I'm also paying all of you, to the lawyers and to all the people around her. She said she felt forced into a mental health facility and forced to perform. She said she would be retaliated against with visits from her kids and visits from her boyfriend taken away if she didn't agree to these performances and tours that she felt too tired to do. She didn't want to do it anymore. And forcing somebody to work and forcing someone into a mental health facility. And she said, they forced me to take lithium, which I had never taken before. This is in 2019. She said that. And, you know, she also said to the judge, she said, I told you all of this 2 years ago in 2019, and nothing, and you didn't, it felt like you didn't listen to me. I felt like I was dead. I felt like I didn't matter. And those are strong words for a strong situation. I mean, this woman was completely cognizant and had so many points about how she was taken advantage of. She also said she was abused.
So, Joey, I'm out of time. I literally have five seconds left, if that much. So what's next? What is next?
What's next is I think she has to demonstrate she's competent and able. And remember, at the end of the day, we have to be about facts. I'm not here as a Britney Spears fan or someone who's saying she's abused.
Yeah, you're a
she's
legal
not
analyst.
abused.
That's why you're here.
At the end of the day, right, it's up to whether she's competent. Apparently, that indication was made she wasn't. A judge agreed. There's a lot that's sealed that we don't know. And so we can't take one side or the other. I would caution we have to be objective in our evaluation. Many of those documents are sealed. We don't know what we don't know. What we do know is a judge felt it was appropriate to keep in place. A judge will make the assessment moving forward as to whether or not it will be removed. That'll be up to her and whether she's competent and able.
I want to bring in now CNN legal analyst Ariva Martin, a civil rights attorney. Ariva, I'm so glad you're here. Let's get to it. Brittney, thank you so much. Britney Spears has lived under this conservatorship since 2008. Most arrangements like this are for elderly people or mentally disabled people. She's released several albums during this time. She's had her Vegas residency.
What I fail to understand is, like, how are you not competent enough to take care of yourself, but you're competent enough to be able to put out 2 fucking platinum albums and, like, do a Vegas tour? Like, that, it doesn't make any sense that, like, she's competent enough to keep making money so that the conservatorship could continue and her family could fucking eat. But, you know, she's not competent enough to take care of her own, self. It's wild. Like, and that a judge continued it. It's so strange.
How unusual is an arrangement like this for a successful 39-year-old woman?
Hello, Don. Good to see you. And you are right. This is incredibly unusual. And I think Brittney put it best when she said it's abusive. When you think...
Why do conservatorships exist? It's for people with dementia and Alzheimer's and shit like that. It's for older patients that, unironically, cannot take care of themselves at all. It is to help people who cannot take care of themselves to like appropriate their finances to ensure that they can survive, they can continue living. Okay, that's it. That's what it is. Or minors without parents. Yeah, like people who just do not have the capability of taking care of themselves. It makes sense. Like I don't have a problem with conservatorships in general. Okay, I don't think that they should like completely cease to exist, because there are people who, if they may have some funds and left to their own devices, like they literally cannot survive. Should they die? Should they be euthanized? Like, what are they supposed to do? What happens to people who cannot take care of themselves? Okay.
think of conservatorship, you usually think of someone in their 80s or their 90s who has suffered from dementia or Alzheimer's, and they're no longer to make, decisions about their finances or their health. They are mentally incapacitated. Brittney Spears is none of that. As you just, appropriately stated, this woman has been working, and not just working a 9-to-5 job. She's been performing at the highest level. She was a judge for 1 year on a national competition show. She's toured the
Come on, Maz, that one was literally Groiper 678.
world, giving concerts. And so when you think about who is incapacitated, her picture should be nowhere near the definition of being mentally incapacitated. So it's really bothersome to me as a lawyer that the court system has allowed this conservatorship to go on for as long as it has. But, I applaud her for her bravery, her courage to speak up for herself and to advocate for herself, and not just herself. Brittney is a mother of 2 kids, and she wants to have another child. She says she wants to get married, and she is forced to wear an IUD. So even decisions about her own reproductive rights have been deprived. She's been deprived of those rights, and I cannot think of any legal reason why this conservatorship is still in place.
And she feeds a lot of mouths and runs companies, right? There are a lot of people who depend on Brittney Spears' success. Confidential court records obtained by the New York Times reveals that Brittney Spears has been pushing to end her conservatorship for years now. Even as early as 2014, she wanted to explore removing her father as a conservator. Why has this gone on for so long?
That's the million-dollar question, Don. Why has this gone on so long? Why has the court allowed it? And why has Brittney's father? Think about this. This is her biological father. You would think that in the interest of a father-daughter relationship, he would voluntarily end this relationship. But you stated, again, appropriately, that a lot of mouths are being fed. These conservatorships are incredibly expensive to run. There are lots of people who are getting paid, who profit from Brittney Spears' talent, from her labor. And the fact that it has gone on so long is really abhorrent. It speaks really poorly of our court system, and I'm hopeful that today marks the beginning of what will soon be the end of this conservatorship.
Ariva, it's always good to see you. We'll continue to report on this story, and we'll have you back. Thank you very much.
I want to know like a descriptor. Like I want to know if there's like a longer one instead of just like reactions. You know what I mean? Apparently she compared it to sex trafficking. Pretty sick that her father was basically paying himself 16 grand a month as her conservator. Yeah. The New York Times documentary. I don't want to watch the full testimony because apparently we're not legally allowed to listen to it.
I was heard on any level when I came to court the last time. I brought 4 sheets of...
I do want to show you some parts of it though, at least, so that you, this is leaked audio, but I want you to hear some of it so you understand like her mental faculties, because the way that people describe her situation is like she has nothing, like she has no way to process what's happening to her. You know what I mean? And that she doesn't understand the situation she's in, and that like I want to show you some of it, like so you understand that like this is a fully capable human. Okay, I mean, not that like we are not a we're not like professionals. Obviously, I'm not. So I can't speak on it credibly. I don't think professionals can even speak on it credibly without like actually assessing her in person. But you know, I'm gonna give my fucking dumbass opinion anyway, regardless. And show you like at least a piece from it.
This conservatorship. So basically, this conservatorship is doing me way more harm than good. I deserve to have a life. I've worked my whole life. I deserve to have a 2 to 3 year break and just, you know, do what I want to do. But I do feel like there is a crunch here, and I feel like I feel open and I'm okay to talk to you today about it. But I wish I could stay with you on the phone forever, because when I get off the phone with you, all of a sudden, I hear all these no's, no, 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 and then all of a sudden I get
In Twitter video, dude. Jesus Christ.
I feel ganged up on, and I feel bullied, and I feel left out and alone. And I'm tired of feeling alone. I deserve to have the same rights as anybody does by having a child, a family, any of those things.
It's literally like living in a nightmare, dude. It's like literally living in an everyday nightmare, where the people closest to you that are supposed to take care of you, that are telling the rest of the world that they are taking care of you, are enslaving you as you are forced to make money for them.
I mean,
you know what I mean? It's wild, dude. It is a wild thing to consider. This person has been like making money for the family to the tune of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, since she was like fucking 14.
And more so. And that's all I wanted to say to you. And thank you so much for letting me speak to you today.
Anyway. She was 11 on Mickey Mouse Club. Okay, did she start off at 11? I'm not super familiar with her career, to be honest, so I can't speak on that. But there's a transcript on Variety if you want to see it. There's a full leaked audio if you want to hear it.
She's always wanted to get out of it.
Britney Spears' older brother Brian opens up about her conservatorship.
It's, you know, it's very.
This is back from 2020.
Frustrating to have, whether it's if someone's coming in peace to help, or they're coming in with, you know, an attitude, like having someone constantly tell you to do something, it's got to be frustrating.
The rare interview happened on the As Not Seen on TV podcast, and it took place during a hearing about the conservatorship.
But apparently you know enough to know that she doesn't need this. I don't need to know like exactly the fucking details, every minute detail of her career to know that, like, yeah, legalized slavery in this in this way is completely unacceptable. Do you need to know that? Do you need to know if she was in the Mickey Mouse Club at the age of 11, or her career started at the age of 14 to know that, like, legalized slavery is bad? Or forced birth control is bad? That's kind of a wild fucking take there. You really thought you were smart, but you couldn't even see that the top of the hour was coming and the 60-second ad break was going to be here. Right in front of your fucking face. If you'd like to no longer see said ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Okay? It's that easy. You can use an ad block or a VPN, or subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime is free. Yeah, bet you didn't see that coming. Here is the 60-second ad break now. I'm trying to get better at, like, not changing my tone whenever I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah, I hear there's like a couple of hearings, I guess, going on right now. Not sure what, you know, the details and all that's going to be, but, you know, we all hope for the best.
ET has learned that during the hearing, which happened on July 22nd, Britney was supposed to appear via video conference, but it got postponed after unauthorized parties accessed the court's video server.
My life is kind of like an open book to the tabloids.
Brian did claim during his chat that Britney does want out of the conservatorship, which was put in place in 2008, giving their father Jamie control over Britney's finances and personal decisions.
If I wasn't under the restraints that I'm under right now, you know, with
all the lawyers and doctors and people analyzing me every day and all that kind of stuff. Like, if that wasn't there, I'd feel so liberated and feel like myself.
In 2013, Britney told ET this about her dating life.
The reports of your dad doing a background check on David, is that not true?
That is true.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Does that embarrass you?
My dad's a little crazy like that.
Does he own a gun?
He does own a gun.
Okay, help yourself there.
But as for the hashtag Free Britney movement and fan theories that Britney needs help escaping her situation, Brian had this to say.
I don't follow it that well, but I am aware that like they feel like, you know, like it's, I don't know, maybe she's being confined or something, or held against her will in some capacity, but I can't really, I can't speak for them.
The conservatorship
Say it, pussy. What the fuck?
has been under scrutiny over the past year, with fans wondering why 38-year-old Britney is still under a legal guardianship.
Yeah, chatters will unironically be like, you think legalized slavery is bad? Name 3 of her albums. Like, and then sit there and act like they just brought up a profound point. You know what I mean? Like, I just fucking destroyed you in the marketplace of ideas. And then they turn around and go, Hasan hates opposing opinions. It's like, he just cannot match my intellectual rigor. Like, sorry, my intellectual might is too much for you, I think. I will sit here and justify legalized slavery. I will do it. That chatter was joking, making fun of other chatters. I'm just saying that, like, it's funny that, you know, big brain intellectuals always try to prove a point like this.
I'm in this thing for quite some time now. Obviously, there was a need for it in the beginning.
I'm a Sagittarius. I'm very keen on freedom. I love freedom. I love independence. I don't like to be tied down.
Britney and Brian's mother, Lynn, recently filed paperwork to be notified of all matters regarding Britney's finances.
The women in this family are very, very strong-minded and have their...
PCM literally says you're closed-minded. Who the fuck is PCM? For not bringing those chatters on your stream for a live debate? What the fuck is a PCM? Oh, political compass memes. Yeah.
Their own opinion, and they want to do what they want to do. And as much as I admire that as a guy and being like one of 2 guys in this entire family, it kind of sucks, man.
In 2019, a source told ET that Lynn has always wanted to have a position in Britney's conservatorship.
Did I ever manage my children? Never. Did I ever take any percentages of anything they ever did? No, I did not. And do I even know how to broker a deal? People give me way too much credit for being such a savvy business person, because I really don't even know how to do these things.
Hours after Brian's interview went live, Britney took to Instagram to do a Q&A of her own.
What's my favorite flower? It's a rose.
And fans think that Britney subtly responded to a comment that her brother made earlier in the day.
She's the worst driver in the world. I'm not lying. Like bless her heart. Like, she really is not a really good driver.
Have I ever gotten a speeding ticket? I've had 1 speeding ticket my whole life.